Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and today, as you can see, the topic is Toxoplasma gondii. In this one, we'll only discuss the morphological forms. We'll not go into the life cycle of this particular parasite. That we'll do in the next video, but here we'll go in detail of the infection that is caused by Toxoplasma gondii. And let me tell you one thing, I'll try to put the important points so that you can understand the disease and you can understand the different morphological forms that this particular parasite acquires in its life cycle. So starting with the Toxoplasma gondii, it's a parasitic infection, and the infection is also known as Toxoplasmosis. So what we're going to do is we're going to recreate all these things, and we'll also discuss one by one what are these different structures that I've created, and slowly we'll develop the entire image again, and this will also help you to create your own image. One benefit of that particular illustration that you can use in your project, you can create similar illustrations. Another thing, you will also understand the concept. What is tachyzoites? What is pseudocyst? What is tissue cyst? And oocyst. And I'll try to put the most important points so that these are going to help you in your studies, right? So without any delay, let's move to the next part where we create our illustrations using the already made designs and also discuss the concepts. All right, so let's start creating our illustration. I'll start with the text, which is the name of the parasite, which is Toxoplasma gondii. And yes, we are going to discuss the morphological features in this one. And before we discuss the morphological features, let me tell you this particular infection is important because it's not only causing threat to the animals, and it's also causing threat to humans. It's a primary host for this particular parasite is cat, but then human can get infection also through various ways that we'll discuss. One is undercooked contaminated meat. If the person is eating contaminated meat which is contaminated with Toxoplasma gondii, the infection can basically transfer. Second one is cat feces. If the food is contaminated with cat feces, it can also have those morphological forms. They can lead to the infection. Next is if mother is infected, it can also get transferred to the unborn child. So that is also the transmission mode of transmission in case of a pregnant woman. Next is Toxoplasmosis is not that dangerous when it comes to healthy individuals. It's going to cause only asymptomatic flu-like symptoms, but if it occurs in immunocompromised individuals, it can be a little bit dangerous, and also it's very, very dangerous for the fetus, right? So these are some of the important points. We'll start with the tachyzoites. So I have those tachyzoites already illustrated right over here, so I don't have to actually recreate all these things from scratch. So these are the tachyzoites, and you can clearly see they have a kind of it's a conical shaped structure. It's not round, so they are motile in nature. So that is the motile form of this particular parasite, and this is the label so that I can also refer at the same time while I'm creating all those individual illustrations. So this is the first form. It is the motile form of the parasite. It's the motile form of Toxoplasma gondii parasite, and it's responsible for the acute phase of the disease. When the parasite is in this phase, it can invade inside the host. It can move from one place to another one, causing the spread of the infection to the various tissues, right? And their specific crescent shape that they have is the characteristic feature of these tachyzoites. Next is when there is a chronic infection, it can transform into bradyzoite. So that is the next form which we'll discuss, and for that one we have to also discuss the pseudocyst. So right, so you have different kinds of these morphological forms, and based on their specific features, we'll call them tachyzoites. Based on their specific features, we'll call them bradyzoites. So we'll discuss that. One is active motile form of the parasite is the tachyzoite. Now let's move and let's create the second one, which is pseudocyst. Cyst is usually the form which is a little bit more resilient, and it is a little bit more difficult to treat, right? So it's more protective in nature. So in this case, this is what I'm talking about as pseudocyst. In this case, it will have all the morphological feature of the cyst, but it will not be a cyst. So it will look like a cyst. It's not a cyst because in this case, what is happening, those tachyzoites, they are rapidly dividing and then they are also lysing the cell. So you will have cysts, you will also see pseudocyst, which will basically look like cyst, but they are not actually cyst, right? So moving on to the pseudocyst, let me create the illustration first. Inside the pseudocyst, we also have these wonderful tachyzoites, right? Parasites always fascinates me. These tachyzoites, they are there, and this is the cell's nucleus. Let me see if I have the label for all those things. So yes, I do have tachyzoid. Next is the host cell membrane. As I told you that this is the host cell membrane, and this is basically getting affected by the parasite and getting damaged. That is also one of the reasons it's called pseudocyst. And these are the tachyzoites. So they are labeled now, so you can actually see them. This is the nucleus, so I do have the label for that one. So if you want to show pseudocyst diagrammatically, this is, I think, the correct representation of the pseudocyst, where you have this outer layer which is damaged. This is the host cell membrane, then you have tachyzoites, and then this is our entire pseudocyst. As you can see, it looks like a cyst because it's having that outer covering, but it's actually not, because the host cells, they are rapidly lysing. So what happens is pseudocyst is basically refers to the cluster of tachyzoids surrounded by host cell membrane rather than a true cyst wall. So as I told you that in case of cyst, you will have a true cyst wall. And these structures, they appear during the acute phase of infection because these tachyzoids will enter inside the host cell, they will divide, and then rapidly it's going to create a lot of tachyzoids inside the host cell, and they will look like a cyst, but they are not a cyst, and they will immediately burst the host cell and infect the other cells, neighboring cells, right? In this case, they will infect another cell quickly, so you will have a lot of different pseudocysts appearing at the same time. So it's not a long-term, it's not a stable long-term structure, pseudocyst, but true cysts they are, and I'll show you what are the true cysts. For that one, I have to create the illustration of where the cyst is present. Cyst can be present in any tissue, any organ. So let's take this as the environment where the cyst is present, right? So this is basically muscle. Let's talk about the muscles. So these are the let's imagine this is the muscle, and then you also have the structures that will help you to recognize this in the more muscular illustration. Next, what we have to show here is the bradyzoites. So in this case, we'll have bradyzoites rather than the tachyzoids, but they are present inside. But they are present, as I told you, inside the cyst wall. So we have a true cyst wall in this case, and this is right over here. It's already been designed in a way so that it fits nicely. We are not wasting too much time in illustration, right? So you can create these individual structures, and there you go, right? So these are the bradyzoites that we will discuss now. These are the bradyzoites, and this is the muscle. So we can, this is the human muscle. So we can have these cysts present inside our body. They can stay for a longer period of time, and then once it's reactivated, they can cause damage in the host by switching into the acute phase. So this is the tissue cyst. So let me put the label right over here, right? So this is a tachyzoid, this is pseudocyst, and now this is the true cyst. Now what is a true cyst? A true cyst is a dormant form of the parasite. It's typically contained. It typically contains various structure which are called bradyzoites. These cysts are primarily found in muscles as well as in the brain of the host. When it comes to the brain, if the cyst is present in the brain, that's definitely a huge damage to the host, right? It will have a protective cell wall that I already told you. It will shield it from the host immune system, right? And tissue cysts, they can be reactivated, and then especially in case of immunocompromised, they can cause a lot of damage. So you have these structures that are not that motile, that we have tachyzoids. These are called bradyzoites. So I'm going to label them. Inside the cyst, the form of the parasite that is present is the bradyzoid, right? So these are the muscles, and these are the bradyzoids that are present inside the true cyst. Okay. Next, final morphological feature that is present in our Toxoplasma gondii parasite is the oocyst. Now, what is the oocyst? I have to create this oocyst first. So I have this outer wall for oocyst, which is round structure. So oocyst is something like this. It's a round structure. It will have another substructure inside it. So just to show, I'll create this in a different color. Next, what we have is the individual sporozoites, and then they are present inside the sporocyst, right? This entire structure is known as oocyst. So this is, you have to understand. Since we have created this illustration one by one, so that I can easily tell you what are these different things, and the structure inside these are sporocysts. They are the sporozoites. They are now not bradyzoites. They are not tachyzoites. They are sporozoites. So these are the sporocysts. These round balls. These ones, sporocyst 1, sporocyst 2. And inside these sporocysts, we have sporozoites. As you can see, these green color structures. So let me label them. Sporozoites right over here. Okay, I don't want to use that. Step label. Okay, I'm getting the step label again. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this one. Okay, so these are the sporocysts. And next is, these are sporozoites. Sorry, this is the sporocyst, and this entire structure, this round structure, becomes our oocyst. And now we'll understand what is a oocyst and what is the significance of this oocyst, right? So oocyst is infectious form of the Toxoplasma gondii. This is present inside the cat feces. So this is very, very important to understand. When we talk about infection, we said that, okay, the infection is going to happen when the cat feces contains the parasite, and then it is contaminating our food. In this case, oocyst is that particular form which is present inside the cat feces, right? And it is going to contaminate our food, and then these sporozoites are going to cause the damage. They are going to enter in our body, and then appearance of the tachyzoites will happen, and that we'll discuss in the life cycle of Toxoplasma gondii, right? Not here. Okay, so sporozoites, they will infect the host tissue, and then it will begin the life cycle. Oocysts are the primary source of infection for humans. So that is something we need to understand. It can contaminate food, it can contaminate water, and you can get the infection from these. And if someone is eating soil for any reason, it can also acquired inside the body via soil contamination also. It is very, very crucial stage of the parasite, and since, as you can see, it has a tough wall, so that means it's able to survive in the tough environment, right? All right, so these are the most important morphological forms. One is tachyzoites, and second one is pseudocyst, third one is tissue cyst, and then oocyst. In a way, we have discussed a lot of different stages of the Toxoplasma infections in an interesting way. At least, we were able to see the structures, we were able to understand their function, right? And we'll also now you should be able to also create these illustrations for your project reports also. Okay, so we have discussed all 4 stages, and when we'll discuss the life cycle, I hope then there is no need to discuss these individual morphological features, although I'll give you a pointer regarding the functions or the significance of these forms, right? But not in more detail that we have discussed already in this video. Okay, so we'll see the life cycle as the next video, and I hope this video was helpful for you to understand the morphological form. And I sincerely hope that video is going to help you to understand the life cycle of the Toxoplasma gondii parasite in much more detail. And you should be able to now create your own morphological forms, and you should be able to also understand their functions. All right. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll meet you in the next one. Till then, take care, everyone.